Okay, so once you have the two coats of gesso on your canvas, again, give it a light sand so that it's ready for a painting surface. And the next step is you're going to choose a landscape. So look at the 10 landscapes that I've posted to this assignment and choose one of those. You'll notice that most of them are monochromatic, meaning that they're one color plus black and white. Some of them may have some variations of some other colors in there as well, or it might have some complements, but I chose them for their flatness of each layer, all right? So the main thing in this is the color matching. I would pull up which image you're going to use onto your tablet so that you're able to zoom in. But we're always going to start with the sky. Start with the thing that is the farthest away with a landscape, and then we're going to work our way forward all the way to the foreground, okay? So again, we're going to start with the sky. So in this one, it's a very, very almost grayish light blue, and you're going to need to color match. So the idea is that you're trying to color match as close as possible. Now, when you're brushing in sky, you want to use a lot of water with the paint, so it gives it that kind of translucent, not opaque, but very transparent looking effect to the color. All right, so we don't want to go thick with the color. I'm leaving the image up here so I can see it. And again, with this one, I'm going to start with those blues. I'll put in those almost oranges later because I'll need for this to dry. Otherwise, remember, if you mix complements, they gray out the color. So I'm going to start with the white here, and then I'm going to add just a touch of blue, just a tiny touch of blue, the same way that we did on that sheet with the tints, tones, and shades. So again, just a tiny, tiny bit, and I'm going to add that into the blue, or into the white. And it's also a bit grayed out, so toned. Remember I talked about toned down. So again, I'm going to use the black, again, a tiny bit. Remember, I can always go back in and add more as needed, but you can't take it out once you've already mixed them together. That's it. You can always add more. All right. Now, this is still a little bit gray, so I'm going to move that over here. Go back into my blue. Get that bit more blue. It's more of a blue-gray. There we go, that's pretty close. Maybe a little bit more. And again, I'm constantly looking at the picture and sort of testing it against the picture itself. This is a little bit purple, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit of the red. Kind of a magenta. It's a little bit more purple, so I'm going to go add a little bit of magenta here. Again, you can see I'm adding small amounts until I find that color. There it is. And I'm using the palette knife so I can mix up enough of the paint to cover the area that I need to cover on the canvas. So when I brush in the sky, I'm looking at the picture and I notice that, hang on a second, let me get this picture back on. Okay, I noticed that the sky goes to probably, 1/3 1/3 of the picture area. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the sky down. Remember, because I'm going lighter, I can always put these other shapes, the clouds and the mountains, over that once it's already dry. I can always add that later, and paint over something, especially since I'm going to go very liquid with the paint. So I'm adding some water. You can either add it that way with a water bottle. These type of spray bottles, if you want to get your own, you can get them at the dollar store or at any grocery store. They're usually about $1. So you might want to get your own just so you have it, because I only have a few of them here. And then I'm going to use a bigger brush. Your canvas surface is smaller than this canvas that I'm working on, so you can probably use this size brush. This is what, a number 10 and number 12, and that will cover the area very efficiently. I'm going to use this 2-inch because I've got a bigger painting surface here. And so I'm just going to start brushing that on. I'm going to add some water there because, again, I want this very, very liquid, very transparent paint color on here. You can also use a wet paper towel. I'm going to use a rag, and feel free to bring in if you want to save some paper and save the planet, is to bring in your own cotton cloth. If you have an old t-shirt or something, that works really well to move this around. But you can see that there's a lot of liquid added to this to create that transparent sort of sky. Again, I'm bringing the color down further than it really needs to be. Because I can always paint over it, but I don't want to have to try and remix the color later. That becomes a problem when you're trying to remix the exact color again later, because you didn't mix enough paint to begin with. So again, because I'm using quite a lot of liquid, you can see that it goes quite far, just a small amount of paint. Okay, so this is actually lighter than the sky that's in the picture. Try and get some on the edges too, get all the way to the edges. This is a bit lighter, again, because I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to add another very, very thin layer until I get it as close as possible to the color that's in the image. All right. Also, that river area, as far as in the picture that I'm working with, there's kind of this river area that's a very, very light blue you see here. I'm going to go ahead and put that in as well. And again, I don't have to draw it in and have it exactly, because I'm gonna define that area when I put in the mountains. So for now, I just want to put down that color, and I can always define the shape of it later, but I just want to make sure that I've got the color down to begin with. It's mostly white. Very, very light. And again, it's kind of in this area, roughly in this area. I'm going to put down, again, I'm putting down more surface area than the actual river is, because I'm going to define that later once this is dry. All right, so you're going to let this layer dry. It needs to dry completely. I'm going to go back in, add another very thin layer to that sky. It's a bit more purple in my picture than this one. This is a bit more blue-gray, so I need to bring that more toward the purples. And then I'm going to start to define and draw out where are those cloud shapes. The cloud shapes are going to be in here. The mountain shapes will be in here, all right? So again, I'll do that as a part 2. to this tutorial. Okay, good luck and have fun.